Welcome back to Spitballin Cards. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the sets that we're most looking forward to in 2023 and 2024 that are not released yet. We're also going to be discussing second-year players, which ones we think are the real deal and which ones we think might fizzle out. Let's talk about who's in this video today. My name is Scott. We have Phil. Jeff is here. Jeff, good to see you. And we have Chris as well. I was excited about Jeff because he was not here for episode 1. Ty is sick, and so Jeff is actually joining, and it's always good to have Jeff with us too. So let's jump into this. The very first topic, let's talk about which sets are not released yet. We were going to say 2024 sets, but there's still some 2023 sets that aren't released. So we're going to count those. Which sets heading into this year, the calendar year, are we most looking forward to that aren't released? Chris, I know you have one, and I know it's going to be 2023. So I think we should start with you and hear which set floats your boat and they're looking forward to.
All right. I'm sorry. I know, Jeff, we just talked about this. I don't want to take yours. Hopefully you had a backup, but the set I'm most looking forward to is the set I'm always most looking forward to, which is Topps Stadium Club Chrome. And I'm mildly concerned because it's not on any schedule yet. I don't see anything for pre-orders. But like I've told Jeff, I will break into Topps and print this set myself if that's what I have to do to get this out. The 2022 set was phenomenal. The 2020 set is probably my favorite set of the last 5 years. So I'm really hoping they make this. The earliest Stadium Club cards I've seen from the release that comes out on the 24th look fantastic. The images are great. So give me those in a chrome finish, please. So that's mine. And I get anxious when I think about that set being on the chopping block. Hopefully it won't be. And yeah.
You know what's interesting? Before we did this podcast, like we used to chat, right? We used to chat, all of us chat in our own different ways, but it's good to have the podcast together. I never once thought about Stadium Club the way you think about Stadium Club. Isn't that cool how different we are in cards, how you care so much about a product that did not mean anything to me? Now I like it. I think there's some great things about Stadium Club.
I've never once looked at a Billy Butler card and thought, that's something I might bring into my house.
That hasn't worn off on you yet, though.
No, that is not.
I don't think that's going to wear off. I mean, you were saying how much you like Spencer Torkelson just barely, so maybe there's something there.
We'll back to Torkelson for sure.
Anyways, so my favorite set that I'm looking forward to is I like Topps Dynasty. I think it's fun to watch people open that product. I've never opened a box, and I'm never going to. And I own 0 Topps Dynasty cards, but it's a set that I'm going to someday own, a really big one. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's a set I would love to get my hands on for, a specific player. So that's a set I'm looking forward to. I think it's one of the best products to watch for sure. Jeff, what about you?
All right. Well, I was going to mention Stadium Club Chrome, but I've already given up hope that they're going to give the 2023. So I'm looking forward to Stadium Club Chrome 2024. And it's interesting because I was just checking out the release calendar on Beckett, and I love this quote. Until recently, Topps revealed the release dates and information around 6 months out. That appears to have changed as Fanatics takes over more of the day-to-day. So if you don't at least see a release date, there's a good chance that it's a couple of months away at least. And I don't see them putting Stadium Club Chrome out that far into 2024. So I think it's going to get axed. And as mentioned, 2023 Stadium Club is just coming out now, and that was already delayed several months. So I'm wondering if they're going to get back on the regular schedule where they drop Stadium Club in the fall, and then they'd still have time to put Stadium Club Chrome out before the next season starts. I really hope they do, because I think it's a great product. 2020 is one of the favorite products that Chris and I open, even going back now and opening those boxes. So I'm looking forward to that. I like Dynasty, and I was thinking about that too, because we have seen some of the new ideas with Fanatics come to fruition. And I think one of the things we're really looking forward to is how they incorporate their vast library of game used material. So I think we could see some really cool patches, really unique patches, maybe from specific events, not just player worn, even not just game worn, but some specifics. And I think Dynasty and maybe Definitive will be the sets they put those in. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think Dynasty has the most potential of any sets, and I think Topps knows that. And I think Ty has talked about this. I don't want to take all of this because I know Ty has probably put some of these thoughts in my head, but I think there's a real chance where Dynasty for basketball could be a massive set. Can you imagine a what a Zion Williamson Dynasty RPA out of 10 would have gone for back in the day, game worn, cool card. Like, it would have been a huge card. And so I think it's one of those things where there's real growth for that set. And I think it's cool. So if you like any players and you want to go after them, go do that. The issue with Dynasty that we run into is, one, that there's way too many images of rookies. So they have like the RPA of a player to 10, but they have like 8 images. And so, I mean, which one's going to get the value here? We know in basketball they're at a 99, so at least there's enough, and we know what the like card is. That's my only issue. So maybe if they actually put in a specific game event jersey or something that might help. And I actually do think the logo from their debut could go well in Dynasty. And on top of that, with Dynasty, another issue we have with all baseball high-end product is just the oversaturation of the same veteran signing every single year over and over forever. And so that can dilute the product a bit. But outside of those, the cards themselves are awesome. And if you're a baseball card fan, they're great. Phil, what set are you looking forward to?
So Bowman Sapphire, specifically here talking about Bowman Baseball Sapphire, although there were some changes that were made to the most recent Bowman Draft Sapphire for 2023, where instead of getting 2 parallels per box and no autograph, with Bowman Draft Sapphire, this most recent one, you're getting 3+ parallels in addition to a guaranteed on-card autograph per box. So it looks like they might be making changes going forward, not to necessarily Topps Chrome Sapphire. We saw something really cool, Topps Chrome Update Sapphire, but that was with sticker autos. So let's keep this to Bowman. It looks like they're going down the path, perhaps, of smaller print runs of some of the Bowman Sapphire products, maybe all of them going forward. On-card autographs, which we only had gotten in one of those 3 releases in the past, and small autograph checklists and more parallels. So over the last year or two, regardless of all this happening, Bowman Sapphire, and I'm talking about like all 3 here, Bowman Chrome Sapphire, Bowman Draft Sapphire, Bowman Baseball Sapphire, which comes out first, they seem to have overtaken Topps Chrome Sapphire with regards to resale value of the box in its sealed form and also ROI ripping it, which is interesting if you think about it, because if you look at the hierarchy of singles, the Topps Chrome Sapphire rookies are higher up in the hierarchy for rookie cards than where the Bowman Chrome first Sapphire cards are. So it's crazy thinking that like you're better off opening the Bowman than the Topps Chrome, and then that's starting to be reflected in the resale values of the boxes. So it'll be interesting to see what they price it at. If they do a Dutch auction like they did last year, and if you're able to get a box of around $375, there should be immediate opportunity to arbitrage and make money reselling that. I think they're smarter than that. With Bowman Draft Sapphire, the box is sold out in about 4 minutes off the website. I didn't use the right credit card. I kicked myself for days. And I ended up having to buy some at like the $540 range instead of, $380 after tax, whatever it would have been, which it sucks. But anyways, that's one I'm looking forward to, all of the Bowman Sapphire products this year. Series 2, we don't know what the checklist is going to be like, but if Jackson Chourio and Jackson Holiday make the opening day roster, there's a strong chance that they'll be in Series 2 along with Jordan Lawler, who, by the way, might still be a really good player. He debuted, I think, last October.
And Marte and Yamamoto.
Yes. And
Caminero.
Yes. Top 5 prospect, Caminero. Lawler debuted last September. I said October. But that could be a really solid product. And Topps Chrome every year is interesting. Last couple of years, they swung both ways. Like, we lost an autograph. We thought that the regular hobby box was going to be crap, but it ended up being solid. Buyback program came out again. Seems like that's going to be a long-term staple. So how are they going to mess up Topps Chrome this year? I'm not going to pre-order any just because of PTSD from 2022. They screwed the quality control from everything, the checklist. They screwed up everything with that product. But 2023, they really turned it around, even though they took away an autograph. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in 2024. And you've got the silver pack promotions with the National, if they're able to stay on schedule and release that the last week of July, like they usually do, which will make it even more fun.
Can we talk about that for a quick second? Silver packs. What do you think of those cards, right? We see people pull gold refractors of Corbin Carroll, but they have like the National logo on them. They never seem to have much value. Obviously, those are great, like the first chromium cards you can flip for a ton of money. But do you ever think there's going to be value for those cards long term? Out of curiosity.
It's funny. I was watching Blabbing About Slabbing, and they were talking about the hierarchy of Michael Harris, and that one came up like really late. Like, oh, you forgot the national one, and then you could tell Chris is like, dude, like, why are we even considering this a card?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I said. I actually wrote it on the board and then just crossed it right out just to make that guy happy. So I want to talk about Bowman Sapphire going forward for a minute, because we recently found out that Topps is phasing all atomic refractors out of their products, so that design will only appear on Sapphire going forward. So no more Bowman's Best Atomics, no more Bowman Chrome Atomic Autos. So I feel like that's probably another way to sort of make Sapphire feel better, feel more special, if that's a way to describe it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was wondering why they did that, but that makes a lot of sense now.
Phil was really upset in the group chat about that being gone. Huh, Phil? You really
I was in a quick collect. I'm gonna quit collecting as a joke. I didn't really care too much. Bowman's Best.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have like an episode to talk about it, but it's a cool product. 4 on-card autographs. It's really fun. You get the rookies, you get the prospects. Checklist is usually pretty small, so you're not getting the garbage players. They don't really retain their value all too well, and they've added all sorts of new magmas, parallels, lavas, and it's come to the point where like it's hard to get your money back when you open it. And for me, I like to buy sealed product and stash it sometimes. With that product, I don't print enough of it ever for me ever to have an opportunity to even get it at a good price. So it's like this year I probably just will avoid it.
I won't lie. That's one of my, I don't open much wax. Actually, I don't think I've opened up a hobby box in 2 years, but that's just not my thing. I always just feel really sad. It does not give me joy. It just makes me sad every time. Because like I could have bought this. But Bowman's Best is the most fun I've ever had opening cards by far. It's such a fun product, and there's so much potential in it. 4 autographs just makes you feel good, because if you're opening up a specific product where autographs are important and you get like seriously like a random relief pitch you never heard of, that sucks, because the box is going to be a dud. But if you do that in your first couple packs, no big deal. You got 3 more and usually end up with somebody you know. So I love Bowman's Best. I pulled a Corbin Carroll refractor auto from 2019, and it was worth $7. I held on to it because I didn't want to sell it. Got it graded, got a PSA 10, and I sold it for like $100. And I think it was worth like $350 at one point. But still, like, that was fun. And I also got a Alec Manoah in the same box, which at the time was exciting, but now it's not. So yeah, Bowman's Best is cool. I like that set.
Bowman's Best is cool, and it looks good. The colors are bright. The inserts are crazy. It just seems to me like that should be a retail product, like geared for kids. Like those, just to me, they don't look like cards for, I hate to say this phrase, like serious collectors or people that are
elitist.
I hate to say it. I just hate to say it. Like that him insert set, I had a hard time even looking at that. Like I don't know.
That's probably the Panini designers like, let's just put this in there. They'll love it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's caught on. But it was a fun thing.
Yeah. If that box was like $120 with 4 autos, and
I think it's
you
a
could
price
buy
point.
Yes. The price point is for serious people, but the cards aren't. So I don't know.
That box will be $120 again when the hobby slows down. Like
no,
it's supposed to be.
Bowman's Best though, it's just so limited. It doesn't
drop
like below 175. Like 2021 was a garbage year. A lot of people think that like there were rookies, and Scott covered this in one of his episodes years back. But the Juan Franco rookie, I guess it doesn't matter what set it's in, but apparently Dominguez, with others, they all have their rookies in there because of the the mistake acknowledged by Beckett, intentional or not. Maybe it wasn't a mistake, but you get like. All years of Bowman's Best are still selling for at least, maybe don't go back so far. 2017 and forward, I think you're looking at 175 plus. Most years are going to be closer to 300.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a lot of it out there.
Yeah, so for me, I'd buy some around 200, 225, maybe 235 if I was feeling a little frisky, but it starts out at 300 and it's slowly trickling down.
Bowman's Best has some of the best inserts, though. I know the him one was a miss, but historically they have copied other Bowman's Best designs from usually 20 years in the past. So you see like a reemergent, like what I'm looking for, a resurgence. They come back to be of specific parallels and sets that are really cool. So that can be something I like about it. But obviously, yeah, it is expensive and the ROI is probably not there. But you probably can say about any box nowadays. It's really tough, really brutal with pricing.
All right, to swing this back around, one more set I'm excited about is Topps Chrome Update, because I want to see if they're going to do the MLB debut patches again. And I really want to see if, like, the guys that are rookies in 2024 but debuted last year, like if Evan Carter will have a rookie patch, an MLB debut rookie patch auto in there, if Dominguez, if Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, we could get one from Jackson Holiday. We get one from Jackson.
They have to.
I just hope they keep that going. One card, one whole patch on one card in Update. I hope they just keep that going. I love that.
I know Phil mentioned this like 2 months ago, but he mentioned that he thinks those will be in Topps Chrome, and the players that debut this year will be in Topps Chrome Update. Isn't that what you said, Phil?
Yeah, somebody else suggested that.
One of us 5 people said that.
That sounds like a Jeff idea because it makes sense.
Is that
I was
Jeff?
wondering, because otherwise there's going to be like probably 300 or 400 guys they got to get in, which is great, but I think they'd rather split it up, because even for this year there was like over 90, right?
Yeah, I think it was 91.
And so that didn't include anybody that debuted this year that they would still have to do.
Those have to be in Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
And I think Topps Chrome is the perfect set for it, really. You could put it in Dynasty, but that's kind of lame.
Yeah,
but it would
usually
sense.
update isn't great because they're all sticker autos, for all the rookies.
Yeah,
so
you kind of forget about that product, like the buzz factor. Like sometimes I forget it. Oh yeah, that's right. You can pull those in there.
Yeah. With those in there, it makes me want to rip it. I ripped a couple like retail boxes with my dad. It was fun.
That's cool. Have we seen any of like the big names be pulled yet? I don't think we've seen Vulpi and
Bobby Miller was just pulled, right? Out of like a blaster.
And Kodai Senga was pulled. I know he was pulled.
Those are the two, because those are still like top 8 names probably, because McLean, Vulpi, Walker. I mean, then it's like those pitchers, right? Like who else would be above them?
It wasn't a super strong set in regards to the names. But this next year, we're going to see some big sales. It'll be great to see, if no one has bounties, what these cards are actually worth.
Yeah, the Vulpi is still out there with that bounty. I think the $150,000 bounty, and I have not heard of that card getting pulled yet.
It's probably some kid.
Ripping, but I'm just saying.
I bet some random kid in like Kansas pulled it, had no idea what it was, and just threw it away. Just like, because it's just a redemption. They might not even know it's a card. They might just think it's an insert and just toss it.
That's hilarious.
Like, isn't that like honestly something that could happen?
Yeah. And then what happens if it doesn't get redeemed? Then does Topps put it in a silver pack when they blow the 2028 Topps Chrome release?
Yeah, that's funny.
The biggest card of Anthony Volpe never surfaces because some kid tossed it. Okay, well, I think that's a great place done in sets. I think we are all more positive right now than we would have been before. I'm feeling good. I feel like Fanatics is going to be okay. They're going to get a lot of criticism, and I think that there's some potential for them to mess some stuff up with breakers and everything, but I think their direction on some of the sets are good. So we'll see what happens. Okay, next topic we want to talk about is sophomore slump versus sophomore smash. We are not going to say smash or pass, though. That's the wrong game. What we're going to say is slump or success. I don't know. We'll just say if they're good or bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around and we're going to talk about these players really quickly. Let's try to keep it quick. We won't, but let's just do our best. Talk about 10 different rookies from last year heading into 2024 that we think might be good buys or that might be terrible buys. So let's start with Jordan Walker. Do we think he's going to be good or bad? I don't have a very strong opinion on this one. So if one of you loves his underlying stats, let me know. But Phil.
He's going to be better.
Yes.
The whole team was a complete disaster last year, and that affected everybody. Arenado down the line. They handled the situation pretty poorly, but a lot is still baked in for him. He is still super young, so I wish the best for him. I just don't know if he's going to be able to hold. I don't think his prices are going to hold. I think they're going to continue to go down. He's still priced double Rafael Devers, looking at their Bowman Chrome auto colors.
So he's going to be like a super solid MLB player for years, 120 OPS plus. Is that what you envision him? Or do you think he has like the 140 OPS, 150 OPS plus in him?
I think he might have a 140, 145 in him, but that depends on improving his profile.
Okay.
Beyond hitting the ball hard and having good batting average. This goes down, and this goes to walk rate. His strikeout rate already isn't that bad. I mean, it's around 20%, right? But he also needs to elevate the ball a little bit better. Hits the ball on the ground too much. So I don't know, man. So what do I say? Neutral there?
Yeah. I think
He's going to be one or the other. Come on.
You can't be neutral. What is this?
He can't be much worse. So I agree. He's definitely going to be better. But what would he have to do to justify the prices even where they're at now?
Yeah. But that's every rookie right now. That's every rookie the last few years.
Maybe, but he underperformed so much, and his prices haven't really dropped that much.
Well, he actually was pretty good offensively. It was his defense that was horrible. Like last year, he had 16 home runs, hit 276 with a 114 OPS plus. Like he wasn't bad. He had 1.6 offensive WAR. It's just defensively, he was one of the worst in baseball. At negative 2.1 when he moved to the outfield, that didn't help. And both of the corner infield positions are taken by 2 Hall of Famers. So that's his issue to me. But I think he can have a great offensive year and will hopefully improve defensively as he gets more reps in the outfield.
Yeah, he could definitely get better, but I'm not buying him, and I'm not paying the entry price, and I'm not drafting him in fantasy.
I think we all agree. He could be a decent buy low fantasy pick if he can improve offensively, because position's not important in a fantasy.
Yeah, but how low are you going to get him? Because there's people that
that's what someone is going to jump and take him way too
high.
You think someone's going to bid on him too high? Some random Cardinals fan, and maybe that guy will be right. Or girl.
Just like some idiot in every league that Jeff and I are in is going to draft Jared Kelenic in the 6th round. Someone will have already picked Jordan Walker.
Great. Well, we'll stop there. Anthony Vulpi. Anthony Vulpi is a very interesting question. Gold Glover, noodle bat last year. Do we think that bat is more of his minor league bat, or do we know who Anthony Vulpi is offensively? Chris, go.
Oh, God. Definite room for improvement, but also I'm not buying him.
Okay.
He's got a great lineup around him, so maybe that can help elevate his game, his offensive game a little bit. So, yeah, again, he's another guy that such high expectations were placed on him, such high prices. Look at the bounty on his MLB debut patch. So, I feel like he could bounce back, but I don't think he's gonna do much card wise either.
If he debuted on the Marlins, do you think he'd have anybody chasing him at all?
No.
Yeah.
So he would have had the quietest 2020 season ever.
Do you think he would win the Gold Glove still?
I don't know his defensive metrics. I would be talking out of my rear end to answer that question.
They're pretty good. I'm just saying, do we think that he only has value? Because the Yankees probably. Okay. Yoshida. Phil, you're a Red Sox fan. What do you think of him?
Hey, wait, Vulpi.
Oh, you want to say Vulpi?
Yeah, complete trash. Okay. No, he's okay. He's okay. But he was trash in the second half. I remember he started out stealing a lot of bases, and people were comparing him to Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll's faster, but Vulpi's a better base stealer. But Vulpi only stole 20 bags at the end of the season, so he must have just stopped getting on base, or both. So I think his on base percentage and everything from the leadoff spot was pretty bad, if I'm not mistaken.
283 OBP with a 383 slug for a 666 OPS.
Yeah, but even from the leadoff spot, I think it was worse. I think.
Oh, really?
He got worse when they put him there. And this is a guy that hit 215 or 220 in AAA. When I saw that, a lot of infield pop-ups. I don't see a major step being taken this year. Say that.
191 batting average leading off with a 276 on base percentage for 622 OPS.
Perfect for the Yankees.
Plus he's right-handed. Slot him right in there. I mean, yeah.
Juan Soto's going to have so many solo home runs. All right, so that's Vulpi. Masataka Yoshida. Phil, you go first because you're a Sox fan.
He's old and he sucks. Garbage. Slump.
People were very high on Yoshida, and there's still time for him to be a very good ball player because it takes a little bit of time to transition from the league he was in to the league we're in now. He ended up with a 783 OPS and a 109 OPS plus. That could be a real ugly contract. He's not a good defender either. So that's tough.
I'm sure Phil watched it a lot closer, but from what I saw, he had some really hot streaks. It happened to be every time I was playing him in fantasy where he'd have 5 home runs in a week. Didn't he have a 3-homer game, or he had multi-homer games? But then it was just deep valleys in between those. And by the end of the year, well, you just gave the stats, and that's not a huge contract worth of stats.
He hit 289, so maybe that made it feel better, but he was 29 this year, so there's really nothing you can do with him in the sports card world. He
completely ran out of gas, in the second half.
Yes, he did. They talked about that because they play less games in the league he came from. So
I watched a lot of his at-bats, Phil. You probably did as well. This guy, I love Devers. I try to watch him hit, and Yoshida was around him a lot. He just never hit the ball hard. whenever I was watching, he never hit the ball hard. And it infuriated me because in like June, his stats look good. And I'm like, I don't understand when he's getting these hits. His swing looks like, I don't know. I didn't like anything about his game. His teeth are also kind of like blue. Maybe it's the color on my TV. I don't know what that is, but for some reason that was very distracting when I'm watching the games. But no, I'm not touching any Yoshida cards, and I will avoid him in fantasy as well. So
the benefit is the cult following. Like
Yeah.
Stephen Kwan had that a little bit, and I was able to sell his cars for way more than I should have because of that. And different type of player, like great outfielder, but it doesn't have 2 Gold Gloves at this point. And he never swings and misses, so that makes him kind of unique. Or maybe that changed this past year. But yeah, I mean, he was not expected by scouts to have a whole lot of power. And then when we saw April and May, it's like, oh, maybe this is like not a 5 home run guy. Maybe it's like a 15 home run guy. And then I think he slowed down. And then it's like, oh, okay. That's why the 29 organizations thought that the Red Sox overpaid. You know, the smarter organizations, most of them are. If the Dodgers had been like the outlier and had spent that much money on him, everybody would have thought like, oh, the Dodgers probably know something that everybody else doesn't. But the fact that the Red Sox did, they're like, yeah, they messed up.
Okay, that is Yoshida. Yuri Perez. Do we think Yuri Perez can continue his amazing dominance like he had last year for the Marlins? Is he going to be the real deal, or is Yuri Perez going to regress towards the mean of rookie pitchers? What do you think, Jeff?
I think he's going to be great. He's still so young, but he's shown a lot of poise for being as young as he is. And he did have a couple starts where he looked like he might be slipping or going backwards, and then he seemed to get it back. Because what did he end up? How did he end the season overall?
Really well. Let me pull up his stats.
Overall?
Yeah, if you take out the start against the Braves where he gave up like 7 runs and got 1 out, like his stats are going to look a lot better. But he's also been like, his idol is Alcantara. So he's got like a great tutor right there in the clubhouse to sort of guide him. I like, just like Jeff, I agree. I like Yuri Perez a ton. He is he's a large man.
How many innings did he throw last year, Scott?
He had a 3.15 ERA, by the way. Innings pitched, he had 91 innings pitched is all, went 5-6.
Yeah, but still almost 100 innings.
Yeah, and he actually had 108 strikeouts and 91 innings pitched for a 10.6 strikeout per 9 innings pitched, which is really good. His whip was high at 1.128. He has a 1.42 ERA plus, but I have no idea if that whip is justified because it's a little bit high. But like,
how old is he?
20. Yeah, 20. There's not many rookie pitchers, or there's not many young pitchers in Major League Baseball that are worth buying. And every once in a while, someone potentially has potential, and this is the first potentially has potential type player I've seen for a pitcher.
Yeah. So he's 6'8", 220 pounds, and like with his frame, he's actually got like really good control, which you don't usually see that combination. So
especially that young.
Yeah, and if you were to look at like, not to talk about fantasy baseball, so nobody's here for that, but if you were to look at like fantasy baseball average trap projections or positions, you'd see that he's like behind Bobby Miller, Tanner Bibee, some of those other guys that we might talk about soon. And some of that has to do with just innings projections this year and wins projections being on the Marlins.
Yeah.
So what you're missing is like, what Scott's talking about, like overall ceiling, overall quality pitcher. I agree. This is this guy's gonna be something special. As soon as I heard about him coming around, I think coming into 2023, he was the second consensus, like number 2 pitching prospect for a lot of people, being just behind Grayson Rodriguez. When I had like watched footage of him, I was like, okay, I don't care about Sandy Alcantara anymore, because like this guy's ceiling is just so much higher. And that was after Sandy coming off that Cy Young campaign. Of course, he regressed. Maybe Yuri now needs a better tutor.
That's good. Maybe you can tutor Sandy a little bit. Just kidding. Sandy's a Cy Young winner, but his cards aren't cheap, by the way. Yuri Perez cards for a pitcher are not cheap right now. So if you want to buy some of his stuff, get ready to pay hundreds of dollars for his rookies. Okay.
His platinum parallel went I think it went for like $400.
Yeah, I think it was 600. I could be wrong. I know
that, I think that was a good buy.
Okay, speaking of things that we might be wrong about, Phil, you probably know. Is Yuri Perez the guy that does not have a Bowman Chrome, a first Bowman Chrome auto?
Yeah, that's right. He had his first he was in Bowman Chrome as a rookie. I don't know if he had an autograph last year.
I don't think he does.
But that doesn't count because that's a rookie. Yeah, he doesn't have a first Bowman auto. Usually the guys that miss them are the ones that aren't supposed to be good, like Jacob deGrom, Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
It's not guys like this. So I wonder what happened.
Yeah, that makes that platinum card maybe even all the more special.
He doesn't even have
update super. I don't know if that's surfaced yet, but that's going to be something special.
He doesn't even have a Bowman Chrome autograph rookie auto I can find. He only has parallels.
Okay. Yeah,
that's
so it's
why,
just parallels.
That's why there's a red ink going right now, and it's like at $200 with 5 days left, and that makes sense why. Because it's like his best autograph by far. So
except that his MLB debut patch has got to be so far and above every other card that he has.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the example where MLB patch will be his best card ever made because he does not have a Superfractor Bowman Chrome auto in either Bowman Chrome set, which is cool. So Yuri Perez, I think we're all high on him. Let's talk about Tanner Bibee real quick. Gut reaction. I will tell you his stats. What do you think of Tanner Bibee? From a hobby perspective and a career perspective, because I think those can be viewed separately due to his age. He's going to be 25 next year.
Yeah. I don't know anything about him. I never owned him in fantasy. I don't have any of his cards. I don't know anything about Tanner Bibee. So I will remove myself from this one because I don't want to sound like a bigger idiot than I just did.
He's good. I'll talk about him. 3.6 WAR, 10-4 record with a 2.98 ERA, 141 strikeouts, 142 innings pitched. So he was also a top 50 prospect, and his minor league stats are just as good as his big league stats. In AAA, he had a 1.76 ERA. In AA high A, 2.17 ERA. And he always has a great strikeout 9 innings pitch. He had a great year. I don't know what the Guardians do. The one thing they can do is develop pitching. And
is he a college guy? Because I'm surprised we didn't hear more about him.
Yep.
Okay, so he's
only
in for a couple of years. Okay.
Yeah, he was drafted, it looks like in 2021. He pitched in 2022. And he actually only has in the minors 28 games started. So
gotcha.
One full season, and he was great. So
he's already throwing 4 pitches at least 9% of the time. Fastball averages 94.9, which maybe is a little, under what you'd hope for right-handed pitchers today, but nothing to, shy away from just for that. But yeah, Bibee is a lot of insiders think he's already better than Shane Bieber. He's already their ace. So
with Bieber's regression, it wouldn't surprise me. I thought 2020 made me think Shane Bieber was going to be the guy. Remember that. Okay, so let's talk about the last pitcher on this list. Actually, we have 2 more. So let's just do one more right now, and we'll go to the other 2 later. But Grayson Rodriguez, he's a player who had tons of hype. He was a top prospect. It did not really translate in the big leagues. I did not watch enough of his starts to be completely educated, if I'm being honest with you. But I heard there were moments where he looked like Grayson Rodriguez, and other times he just looked lost. So if anyone has any thoughts, he had a 7-4 record with a 4.35 ERA, still had great strikeout stuff, high whip, which is never great.
Oh, Jeff is all over Grayson Rodriguez.
Really?
Well, I love him. Yes, I was very excited when he was.
Wow.
And he had some struggles early on. He had some short starts in the spring. But when he came back, I thought he was a lot more effective. And it's kind of like what you said, Scott. He had some games where he looked completely lost and some where he was great. And I think even when Chris and I would talk about it, because he'd watch a lot of his games, it'd be like for 3 innings, he'd be dominant. And then he couldn't get out of the 4th.
Yeah.
But for 4 innings, he'd shut him down and then he'd lose it in the 5th. That started to get a little bit less towards the end of the year. And I know he even threw 8 innings against the Rays in one of his late games, one of his later starts. So I feel like he was starting to turn the corner. I think he's going to be an ace. I think he's going to be a cornerstone of that franchise as they move forward.
That team's going to be good. They're the example why tanking in baseball makes sense, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Phil.
Yeah, I think as Jeff's saying, I was about to pull up his splits to try to see what happened there. It looks like his second half was a bit better. It looks like his strikeout rate went down in the second half. So I'm trying to do this by September. What do you do in September? Okay, Caper 9 in September and October 9.93.
Yeah.
So I think that September is where he really started to show what he's capable of. He's interesting, in my opinion. How old is he right now? 24.
Heading into his 24th season.
He feels like he's been around forever, but he's still young because he came right out of high school. Okay,
that's Grayson Rodriguez. Spencer Torkelson. I think that he might have a pretty good offensive season, but I will not be buying his cards. So that's my thoughts on Spencer Torkelson.
Okay.
Anybody else
I would
disagree?
agree with the first part. I think he took some real strides last year. It's that Detroit team is his team now. I like him as a hitter, but he's a first baseman. He's going to have to put up some monster numbers to matter. But I think he can do it. I mean, we're talking about the number one, like the consensus number one overall pick, like what, 3 or 4 years ago? He was like clearly the best amateur hitter in the country. So the tools are definitely there. I mean, the ballpark hurts him, even though I know they've messed with the fences, but it's always going to be a struggle there, especially like straightaway center. Just feels like you have to hit a ball to Illinois to get it out of there. But I don't know. I like him, but I think his prices are still too high.
Yeah, 31 home runs, 94 RBI, which is the good news. The bad news is he had a 233 batting average with only a 446 slug for a 105 OPS plus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not great.
You're a first baseman. You can't do the 105 WRC plus or OPS plus.
No, you got to be 140.
Yeah, and not a lot of people expect him to take like a huge step forward. And the fact that a lot of hodlers still have his Bowman Chrome autographs. We saw it last year, months before those things went in auction. Last year, meaning I think we saw it his rookie year. And like, so you had no idea what like his cards were actually worth. But it's like, come on, look at his like rookie stuff compared to like other guys, and then try to extrapolate that.
Yeah. There was some big money spent in his cards. That's all I know.
Oh yeah,
big money.
Yeah, I think
so he was like,
as Chris said, he was top prospect, consensus top prospect coming out, and he was supposed to be a very mature hitter coming out. And I think everybody thought, well, he's just going to jump right into the big leagues and dominate, which he didn't do, of course. But still, I like his power numbers. So depending on your fantasy league setup, he could be an asset there. But I can't see his cards coming down to a reasonable price to where it'd be worth investing in or speculating on.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's do a couple more or wrap this up. I want to do Ezequiel Tovar for the Rockies. I have my own thoughts because I watched him and I'm biased. So let's hear your thoughts first. Do any of you have any opinions on Ezequiel Tovar?
I like him as a late round fantasy pick. I'm not touching his cards.
Okay.
Really good defense.
Really good defense. Elite.
I like
defense.
him almost more as a player than as someone I don't see the value.
Anyway, Scott, what's his OPS plus?
70.
Count that low?
70, right?
77 is where he ended up. But he did have 15 home runs for being, how tall is he? He's 6 foot. I thought he was smaller than that. 6 foot, 162 pounds, but he had 30 doubles last year. He also had elite defense, 2.2 defensive WAR. And overall, he had a lot of potential. So for me, I like Tovar, who's only 21 last year, which is like, I think he was the youngest player in Rockies history to do a bunch of stuff. And so I like Tovar when he came up in the end of 2022. He had like the record for home runs at a specific age and all these things. But I think there's a world where Ezequiel Tovar is a 5 WAR player and as Rockies fans will just love him to death. Do I think that translates to cards? No. But Arenado was similar. He had not great numbers his rookie years, but elite defensively, and then he became Nolan Arenado. So maybe. Like
so
that's
Scott,
obviously
if he gets 5 WAR, will it be 4 on defense? 4 plus?
No,
Colorado, Andres Jimenez.
I think no. So in my opinion, in the minor leagues, he developed his offensive profile later than most players do. So he was very much glove first for the first lower levels of minor leagues, but towards the end of his minor league career, he was only 19. It's not like he was old. He hit very well, and I think in Double-A and maybe even Triple-A, like very well. And that's when he actually got added to top prospect lists is once he learned how to hit alongside elite defense. So if that translates at all, which there's potential, we saw Trevor Story develop, right, as a shortstop. If that can develop, he can then become someone who has value. But Rockies fans are looking for anything to collect anybody. So maybe that's his only thing going for him.
Do the Rockies develop hitters?
I mean, they've had good hitters the last few years. Well, he's from the Cubs. But LeMahieu was good. Charlie Blackmon was good. Arenado was good. Story was good. But my point is they've had really good hitters. Their problem's never really been until recently hitting when they picked up Chris Bryant. They had some great lineups. Like in 2018 and 2017, they made the playoffs. They were pretty good offensively. Okay, that was Tovar. Way too much Rocky conversation. Bobby Miller. What do you guys think of Bobby Miller?
So I actually made an offer on the Major League debut patch. Almost brought it up earlier, but I figured I'd bring it up now. My offer was higher than any comp that's publicly available for any of the other one-of-ones that have sold so far, which hasn't included Kodai Senga that I've been able to see. So Andrew Monasterio, I think he had like 61, 6,200 was like what his sold for, probably an auction or something. The guy did not respond to my message. It was left unread. Which is probably the best outcome for me, because I think I looked at the guy's Facebook profile and he had like, he was flipping the bird. That was his mug. So can I trust like a private deal, like close to 5 figures with somebody like that? I don't know. But I saw an immediate arbitrage opportunity, and I also think he's going to be pretty good. So this guy, based on Inosaurus's stuff plus metrics, he's got like 2 really, really amazing pitches already. And the guy also throws, I believe, 100. And that hasn't translated to strikeout rate yet. But I think we saw something similar with like Justin Verlander in his rookie year. Like this guy can throw really hard, but his K rate was like 8 or 8.5. And then it just like took off, and he figured how to be more dominant, overpowering, induce less contact. And that's what plays in today's game. So I like him. Hopefully they don't re-sign Kershaw for his sake, because he's like kind of the number 5 right now, I think. If for some reason Glass now stays healthy for the full season next year, I've got Dustin May coming back. So that'll be interesting. But I think he's pretty good. You're going to pay the Dodgers premium to get him though. So he's not cheap. You know, we talked about Yuri Perez, how he's like the better talent, and he's not. The prices are very similar to Bobby Miller right now.
Yeah. Yuri Perez also 4 years younger.
Yeah, that's my thing for card collecting.
I like Bobby Miller a lot. He's great. But and the Dodgers know what they're doing with pitchers. So if there's an organization to trust to make you feel comfortable investing in a pitcher, it would be the Dodgers. But it'll be 25 in the middle of April next year.
The Dodgers just signed some random old pitcher. I think it was James Paxton. So maybe they aren't that confident in him. So who knows? Yeah. But they have a lot of young pitchers right now. Plus, they have some question marks due to injury. So this has been very pitcher heavy, but we also want to talk about pitchers. Pitchers deserve love too, right? That's what I want to say. But we do have a lot of great players like Tristan Casas, Riley Green, Matt McClain. We didn't talk about the other big 4, or the big 3, I should say, with Corbin Carroll, Gunnar Henderson, and a few others, just because we discussed them in this last episode. But I want to do this again next week because we still have a few months until the regular season. So if there's anybody else you want us to highlight, let us know in the comments down below what rookies those might be, and we will see you in the next video.